I think this is one of the worst, if not the worst, glass bottled water on the market. What's up, y'all? Preston from Liquid Life Wellness Water coming at you from Los Angeles, California with the second in-depth water review. And today we're talking about Saratoga Spring Water. They have the still version we're gonna be talking about, and they have the sparkling version. As many of y'all have probably seen, this water went viral recently over the past month or so with Ashton Hall pouring this into a container and doing his cold face plunge every morning at 3 a.m. or whatever it was. And this viral video absolutely blew this water up. I have some pretty hot takes on this water after doing some more research around the water quality analysis that are provided and getting into some of the history as well as the ownership behind this water. And is it really worth it? Is it a good quality water? How does this water compare to Mountain Valley? So let's answer those questions right now. There aren't many in-depth water reviews about most waters on the market. We go deeper than just the TDS and the pH levels here on Liquid Life. We actually look at the water quality analysis. Eventually, we're gonna be doing our own third-party testing on these waters with these in-depth reviews, and we'll revisit the popular ones like Mountain Valley, Saratoga, etc. when that time comes. But right now, we're gonna be using a 2022 and a 2023 water quality report posted by Saratoga. Before we get into all of the data that we found online, let's crack open these bottles. So they offer two options, the still version and the sparkling version. Now the still version should have a TDS around 110. We're gonna do a taste test first, let's see. So much better than the sparkling version that I've ever had. Do a little bottle review as well. They're famous for their cobalt blue glass bottles. As someone who's working on a water brand myself, cobalt blue is the easiest blue to get. This is done by fritting, custom color, but with cobalt blue, this is used for many different industries. And so it's actually the most common type of blue glass. Easy to find, easy to produce. The different colors of blue become more challenging. So that's one thing. And then they have their embossed custom label right here. So they have a custom mold for this bottle. Overall, pretty nice design, sleek, classy, basic, but elevated. I think that's really honestly the #1 selling point of this water. And we'll get into that a little bit later as well. But let's test the pH of this still version. First, these two waters, even though they're both Saratoga, one is still, one is sparkling, are wildly different waters. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. The pH is testing at 6.7, so that's still slightly acidic. That's not the best, but I do have some kind of theories as to why it isn't more alkaline. Okay, so the parts per million TDS, high 90s, low 100s, so that seems to be accurate compared to what they are marketing it as, so that's good. Overall, the water quality, just off taste alone, is like the most kind of basic water. At around 100 TDS, there are minerals in that water. There's some good things in that water. I'd rather drink 100 TDS water than reverse osmosis, completely filtered water. For a lot of home RO reverse osmosis systems, you'll get into like the 40 to 60 range, depending on where you live and what exactly is in your water where you live. We're doing a little bottle shuffle right now. And let's crack open this holy guacamole sparkling version of the water. Bottle explosion, we got a bottle explosion. All right, so basically the same bottle. The only difference is the blue cap to delineate sparkling. A lot of carbonation in this water, can already tell that. It's just completely wet desk. That's funny. Okay, let's taste this water. So acidic. It's kind of like drinking completely unflavored Sprite. It almost has like a lemon lime flavor to it. It is so acidic. And the numbers, the pH levels actually coincide that so I'm not just crazy. I have to get a towel. This is like insanely wet. Cleaning break, there's a cleaning break. We are cleaning the Saratoga water. It is wet because it is water. At least it is not sugar water. Cleaning break is over. Okay. Now that we've got the desk slightly drier, let's test the sparkling version. Let's do the TDS first. So the TDS is marketed as significantly lower, and that is resonating to be true. 40, which is, I think, actually the lowest living sparkling water that I've really encountered. Very low TDS. I have some theories on why that is. I'll basically say this right now. These are basically purified tap waters that don't have the fluorosilicic acid added to them and the chlorine. These waters are some of the worst commercially available waters when you're talking the glass options. I mean, the pH on this is 4.5. That is the most acidic water that I have ever encountered. And I've always not really been attracted to this water from a customer level. If it's the only thing available, I'll drink it. And of course, I'll drink these any day with findings that I'm about to kind of elaborate on over any sort of aluminum can, literally any day. I will drink basically purified tap water out of a glass bottle any day over even a spring water in an aluminum can. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, 4.5 pH is so insanely acidic. I don't understand how people drink this water. And to me, you know, the alkalinity really is all about taste. So let's get into the actual mineral compositions of this water, the history of this water, and why I think this is one of the worst, if not the worst, glass bottled water on the market. And I'm excited to kind of share these findings with you. I'm still gonna drink the water. It's not like okay, it's pretty bad. It's so bad. So Saratoga Spring Water was acquired by BlueTriton Brands in 2021. This was the same year that Nestlé acquired Essentia for about $1 billion, rumored to be. BlueTriton is Nestlé, but Nestlé North America. So Nestlé Waters North America was a division of Nestlé, managing a portfolio of bottled water brands such as Poland Spring, Pure Life, Arrowhead, and Zephyr Hills. In early 2021, Nestlé sold Nestlé Waters North America to private equity firms One Rock Capital Partners and Metropolis & Co. for $4.3 billion. Following the acquisition, the company was rebranded to BlueTriton Brands in April 2021. It's interesting, all of these kind of mergers and acquisitions around water in the midst of COVID, right? There was so much wealth redistribution during that time, and it affected, of course, every industry. But it's interesting to kind of look into this, and I knew that fact about Essentia water, but I didn't know that it was the same year as BlueTriton and also the Saratoga. So BlueTriton Brands, Nestlé North America. Nestlé, historically evil company with water. Another thing to point out is that in 2024, BlueTriton and Primo, the owner of Mountain Valley, merged. And now you can get Saratoga delivered with your Mountain Valley. Now, in our last review of the Mountain Valley, we really found out that sparkling water in particular, 100% has municipally sourced purified tap water added to that water. The same thing is happening with Saratoga. Nestlé is just kind of riding the hype of what people believe to be healthy waters or organic waters in glass, but they're just bottling some percentage of living water from Saratoga Springs in New York. Hey y'all, cutting in here. According to the documentation provided by Saratoga Spring Water for the 2022 and 2023 water quality analysis at the bottom of the second to last page, Saratoga Spring Water sources. Number 1, White Cedar Spring, Dallas Plantation, Maine. This location is owned by Nestlé and it provides the water for Poland Spring. So you're basically getting Poland Spring in a glass bottle. Now, Poland Spring and these other water companies and the plastic bottles owned by Nestlé, such as Ice Mountain, which actually is tied to the other source, the second one listed, Greenwald Spring in Bangor, Pennsylvania, are constantly being sued, such as the one in 2019, that it's not actually spring water. So for spring water, according to the FDA, it has to naturally come out of the Earth's surface or through a borehole. Whereas to get the quantity of the water that BlueTriton or Nestlé are producing for these waters, you have to drill a well and pump it out. Now, this is legally not spring water. And do I necessarily agree with that? Is it coming from a spring? Is it coming from an artesian well? There just needs to be more, I don't want to say regulation, but updated laws around what can be actually considered spring water, what is the definition of spring water. And most of these large companies lobby politicians to overlook basically what they're doing so they can continue selling it as spring water, because people connotate spring water with health benefits. And sure, there are, but there's also great quality waters that are pumped out of the earth, right? It doesn't have to be this way that it currently is. And I think actually the big companies and the people end up benefiting in some regards. But the really shocking thing that I found from looking up their third source, Nature's Way Springs, Foster Township, Pennsylvania. This is a co-packing facility that they call a spring source. This is where they're adding the municipal water. With the Saratoga, especially the sparkling version, you're getting Pennsylvania Scranton tap water in that water. We have a map location of the actual facility, and as it turns out, there's a Pepsi manufacturing facility right down the road. Isn't that interesting? I'm shocked that they're able to get away with changing this name of Nature Ways Springs, Foster Township. That is not a spring source. This is a co-packing facility. This is municipal water that they are getting and putting into the Saratoga water. And this is the day after I filmed this video. I had inclinations, I had an intuition about this happening, but to actually do the research, according to their documents and look into it, I'm mind blown that this is legal, that they're able to get away with this, and that I feel edified in my inkling towards this is looking a lot like tap water, purified tap water. And these big water brands like Poland Spring, Ice Mountain, they are not 100% spring water. They're really not even spring water legally according to the current FDA standards of what a spring water is, because they are getting pumped out. That's less of an issue for me on the definition side, but it is an issue in basically lying to people who are buying this water. And the real issue is purified tap water within that spring water, or really it's not even spring water. So what is it, right? Oh man, let's continue. In here, and most likely adding quite a bit of purified tap water to this water. And it shows in the water quality analysis. Bottles labeled spring water were sometimes filled from municipal tap sources or aquifers near contaminated or drought-stricken areas. Pure Life, in particular, was scrutinized for inconsistent quality and vague sourcing. Who was the founder of Nestlé? ChatGPT getting paid by Nestlé. So if I'm buying expensive tap water in a glass bottle, I'd rather have some more minerals. So this is their higher mineral option. The sparkling has about double to triple the TDS of the sparkling Saratoga, and the still has about double TDS on the Mountain Valley as compared to the Saratoga version. So let's get into the data. For the 2022 Water Quality Analysis Report, they separated into the Saratoga Spring Water and the Saratoga Sparkling Water. Well, you'd say, isn't just the difference between the two waters, shouldn't it be the same water that they're just adding carbonation to for the sparkling water? That is not the case. And there's a number of reasons. Well, CO2 does interact with minerals in the water from these naturally occurring water sources. There are different compounds, there are different challenges that can arise out of this, which is why these waters end up adding purified tap water to the sparkling versions in much higher quantities. But you look at the TDS level, high 40s, this is 100 something. Just off the rip, that's at least double the amount of tap water in here. And it makes sense because they're taking this water on a basically global scale, so they can just use a tiny bit of the water from the actual Saratoga Spring and then recreate it wherever their local distribution networks are, because glass is expensive to transport and they're making money off this, right? There's not much calcium in either of these. There's a little bit of chloride, significantly higher level of chloride actually than calcium. And one thing that you really find in most water sources in the Northeast are trace levels of uranium. And this water is in a geological area, the source, where there should be uranium present, but on both water quality reports, there's no uranium detected. And you can kind of look at it from two perspectives. Number one, they're lying on their water report because this water report was published by BlueTriton Brands, and why would they want to tell you that there's uranium in the water without getting sued or something first and then actually exposing it? Number two, you can actually artificially decrease those levels if you're mixing the water with purified tap water like Topo Chico does, like Mountain Valley does, and you can get it to a level where that uranium level is non-detected because reverse osmosis completely filtering out whatever water you're supplementing the living water with. In my opinion, if you're buying a spring water, you should be getting 100% spring water, living water, rather than purified tap water. Now, purified tap water also can somewhat get a bad rap because most of these tap water municipal sources come from a living water source in some capacity along the trail, along the journey. What you're really paying for is kind of like tap water in this case that hasn't had a bunch of chlorine or fluoride added to it. And so there is some benefit to that. That's really honestly the only benefit, the only good thing that I can say about choosing this water, in addition to, of course, it being glass. I also have this wild thought that really isn't too wild because it's my experience, but every cobalt blue bottle makes the water more acidic, which is interesting because how the light interacts with the actual bottle, the actual glass, and integrates into the water, every single one that I've tried, which has been many different sources around the world, has been even more acidic than a clear bottle or a green bottle. And on the water quality reports, they say there's basically no bad things detected. Everything's ND, non-detected, non-detected, non-detected. How do you really control that? Well, either A, you fudge the reports, or B, you add completely purified tap water to get those levels non-detected. Very, very, very little levels of magnesium in here, like barely 1 milligram per liter. The only thing that is like a main concern that they actually market in here are the bromide levels, because on the water quality report, at the end they say they ozonate the water. Ozonating bromide, if the bromide levels are a certain threshold, can actually create bromate, which is a cancer-causing carcinogen that is found in water sometimes due to ozonation, but the bromide levels are pretty low for this water. As far as the year over year, not much has changed between the 2022 and the 2023 that make much of a difference. I don't really need both of these to see that there's definitely something going on here. It's interesting. Mountain Valley was started in 1871. Saratoga Spring Water was established in 1872, 1 year after Mountain Valley, and now they're both owned by the conglomerate of Primo Water, BlueTriton, which is Nestlé North America. This water went viral with Ashton Hall a few months ago. I can almost guarantee that he was being paid by Primo and BlueTriton brands for all of that content. Ashton, if you hear me and you're not getting paid by Saratoga yet, go get that check. But also, there are way better waters to be doing your face cold plunge in, and let me suggest some to you. The check might not be on the Nestlé level, but as far as like skin health and hydration, there are way better waters to be drinking. Honestly, based on everything that I've seen about this water today and researched about it, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but there's part of me that's like, I would rather drink purified tap water. The problem is that you're getting the fluoride, the fluorosilicic acid from that tap water and the chlorine, which creates all sorts of disinfection byproducts, which are not listed on here. They're probably not chlorinating this water. The living water component, the tap water side of things, that's another story, but at least you're getting a blend. I just wish legally you would have to state, and actually you technically legally do have to state if it is a blended water, but so many of these big companies are getting away with it. There really is legislation that needs to change around this so that when people are buying what they think to be a spring water, it's actually a spring water. And so we'll see what happens with these monopolies and oligopolies and duopolies and the whole corporatocracy per se, and how that kind of develops as more and more people become aware of what they're being sold, what's being actually bottled in here. I mean, I just honestly can't get over how low of a pH the sparkling water has. It's insane that people actually enjoy that water. But it's challenging because it looks pretty, it looks good, it looks healthy, it looks fancy, it looks bougie, and it becomes a marketing ploy. And most water companies out there are just purified tap waters that are marketing positions. Why can't we have both? And I think BlueTriton and Primo are really kind of catching on to this, that the future of water is living water, and it's healthy water, it's organic water. How do we capitalize on that and make it sleek and sexy and sell you something that's a little bit real, but really it's a lot of BS. Carefully curated. What does that mean? Yeah, on the lower end, it's about $2 to $3 per bottle. I would not be buying this water if I were you. If I'm gonna go with something that's more mainstream, I'd go with the Mountain Valley because you're actually getting more minerals through it. And I'd go with the Mountain Valley still version rather than the sparkling version. Get an at-home carbonation machine, just use that so you actually get more bang for your buck. If you wanna make this sparkling version, just think about like using your purifying filter, your Brit at home, and mixing it with half the bottle. That's really what you're buying. I'm honestly just kind of shocked at how bad this water is. The still version, the still version is definitely better, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I wonder what percentage of that is tap water. I really wonder. And one day we'll figure it out. And I'm sure that percentage actually changes quite often to supplement the spring. Saratoga Springs gets a double doom from AJ and Big Justice, who are probably also getting paid by BlueTriton and Primo in some capacity. So they are the Costco guys, and Saratoga is stocked at Costco. Triangulation. Yeah, this water is not it. If you had to put a gun to my head, and Nestlé, please don't do that. If I go missing mysteriously, we can talk to BlueTriton Brands about that. Yeah, the still water, definitely better than the sparkling version. There's so many better water options out there. Yeah, that's my honest thoughts and review on this water. Sorry, not sorry, Saratoga, which is really Primo, and BlueTriton, which is really Nestlé. And this is just what happens when private equity firms take over a product like this. They don't care about the end user. They just want profit, right? And there's a way to practice conscious capitalism with consumer packaged goods, which I hate the term consumer, but there's a way to make great money and also provide people an amazing product. People just get very greedy when it comes to major products like this. A lot of these companies, these private equity firms, these big corporations are just so far removed from the actual potential benefit that water is and what it can be. And then being lied to about what we're being sold is just so absolutely frustrating and mind-blowing. And I hope that what we do at Liquid Life Wellness Water through our education and entertainment, but also eventually through the product that we offer, is able to address that and change that in a way and be very successful in the process of that. But it takes people really being taught about this, because I'm learning so much today as someone who is pretty familiar with the water industry. And I don't believe a lot that they're putting out on these water quality reports, especially since it's not a third-party system. And they must be in bed with the FDA and have their big lobbyists doing whatever they need to do to make sure that their product gets on the shelves and globally distributed. Nothing gets in the way of profit. And that is a major problem in the water industry in particular. So more will be revealed. Let's fight the good fight. And eventually my goal is to change the legislation around this so that when you're buying spring water, when you're buying living water, you are getting that and that alone in that bottle of water. You're not being sold tap water when you think you're buying something else. So I don't like being negative about the water, because water is just so important. And it just makes me sad that we are being lied to on such a grand scale for literally the most basic thing. It makes me so upset that we are adding poison to our water, that these local politicians are being paid off by whoever, the chemical companies, other NGOs, to add fluorosilicic acid to our water, to overchlorinate our water in such high amounts that you do not need to kill bacteria, pathogens, parasites, that create so many other issues. And I think a lot of it is ignorance, but there's also some malintention in it, I really do believe. As we continue this journey, we hope to expose the truth, make it fun along the way. So that's Saratoga water for you. Fun. Doesn't it taste better once you know all of that? Sure does to me. Thank y'all so much for watching this review. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Check out Liquid Life, which is the only water podcast in the world, and let us know which water would you like for us to review next. Drop your comments below. Is this really just tap water in a blue glass bottle, or is there some legitimacy? Do you like the quality of this water? Let us know in the comments below. We'll catch you next time. Peace.